Hi, this is Kevin, a project management trainer and content developer from eProject, and of course, a certified PMP. So, the PMP exam is one of the hardest exams to take. You need time, motivation, and patience if you want to pass the PMP exam. Aside from these things, you also need a good exam preparation buddy. That's why we've created this exam preparation course for you. So to be able to pass the PMP exam, it's not necessary for you to read the PMBOK guide from front to end because the exam will not test you with how much you memorize the PMBOK guide. You just need to understand how projects are done based on the PMBOK guide and how PMI sees it fit. Sure that it would also be beneficial to read the book, but if you are preparing for the PMP exam, it would be better to just make the PMBOK guide as a guide and focus on the important parts. So the course that we have prepared for you only highlights the important details. We removed the redundant information that will save you time and studying. Of course, we don't need to mention that we need expert judgment all the time, the updates to the documents, and the project management plan, and so on. As I have mentioned, only the important ones. Now, let's take a bird's eye view of the PMP exam preparation course right here. All right, so I hope you can see it. This course includes 13 chapters and tips to pass the PMP exam, and of course, a mock test that you have to pass. We update this from time to time, so please do check it out once you have signed up. So let's take a look at each chapter, okay? All right, so a lesson has 4 parts, okay? So the objectives and procedures, the video that you need to understand, and a lesson guide, and of course, a short quiz. So let's take a look at the contents in detail. So the first one, the objectives and procedures. So inside the objectives and procedures, we can see the process that we will be learning, as well as the important concepts that we need to learn, as well as the procedure of learning, which is optional. If you have your own method in learning, please feel free to use that. So next we have the video. Okay, so we have 2 formats for that. One is in MP4 and one is uploaded in YouTube. So the duration of the videos vary. Okay, so some are 4 minutes and some are 20 minutes long. It really depends on the process, but don't worry, we have developed this keeping in mind that you have other commitments that you need to deal with. So we have arranged the duration of each lesson in a way that the lessons are not too long to finish. Okay? All right, so then we have the lesson guide. Okay, so this guide is of course a guide you need to use while you go through the videos. Okay, the guide shows the definitions, explanations of the ITTOs, or the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs, and of course the important concepts. Okay, so it would also be best to keep the PMBOK guide close to you if you need deeper clarifications, so you can save your time from confusion and misinformation from the internet, because sometimes we check the internet and we're not quite sure whether it's correct or not. So it's better for us to just check it with the PMBOK guide. So another tip in learning is, if you can, please take notes of the important concepts, the ITTOs, or inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs, because writing it down is a good way to retain the information you've learned. Okay? Okay, so once you are confident and you think you have a good grasp of the lesson, then you can take the short quiz. So the questions included here are the things you've learned during the lesson. Okay, so remember that the questions do not just ask you about definitions or meanings of the ITTOs. Just like the PMP exam, the questions are situational. So please take note of that. So there is more than one lesson in a chapter. If you finish all of the lessons and you think you have a good grasp of the concepts and you think that you really know the process deeply, then you need to answer the chapter test, okay, or the knowledge area test at the bottom of the page, okay, which is right here. As you can see, project integration management test. Okay, you need to remember all the concepts that you've learned in the chapter. And again, remember that the questions are situational, meaning the questions are about how a project manager deals with a project and the way a project manager should handle projects. All right, which is, we all know what it is, the PMI way. Okay, so once you have finished all the chapters, let's go back right here. And passed all the tests, and most of all, have a good understanding of the concepts, you will now proceed to the tips to pass the PMP exam. So this part, okay. All right, now let's just go back there. So this part includes a 9-minute video explaining the things you should and should not do when you are going to take the PMP exam. So one of the biggest mistakes a person can make is to underestimate the PMP exam. Let me remind you that it is a 4-hour test, and not preparing enough for it mentally and physically can ruin your chances of being PMP certified. So please do not underestimate the PMP exam. Okay? All right, so after you view the tips to pass the PMP exam, you can now take the mock test and review. Let's take a look at inside the this part. Okay, so basically, you can take the mock test as much as you like, and will be randomized every time you take it. So this part is just to prepare you for the PMP exam. You don't need to pass it, but of course, it would be better if you pass the mock tests. All right. So what you need to pass is the 200-item mock test in order to finish the course. All right. So remember that this test is also timed, 72 seconds per question. So once you have passed all of the tests, as well as the 200-item mock test, you will be provided with a course completion certification, as well as 35 PDUs that you can use in order to be qualified to take the PMP exam. Okay, so we also have right here at the bottom, we also have the 49 processes review. This test is made for you to understand the processes better. Having a deep understanding of the processes and why they exist can greatly help you with answering the questions in the PMP exam. Okay, so always remember that we are here to support you. If you have any questions and concern, please feel free to email us and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So once again, this is Kevin, your project management trainer. I will see you soon.